The Clavis, or Key to Unlock the Mysteries of Magic, has been out for quite a while now, and I had made the decision not to acquire it because it was, allegedly very similar to the Clavis or Key of Magic of Solomon by Joseph Peterson, which I've reviewed in another video. And my previous experience with the Golden Horde publishing books was disappointing, and so I decided to just generally stay away. But it has to be said that Dr. Skinner's books are essential. They are absolutely essential, and as much as there are aspects of his writing that annoy me, his knowledge is undeniable and awe-inspiring. I mean, there's no other word for it. And when I was in Watkins' books, you may have seen the tour video that I made. I picked up a copy to have a look inside, and well, despite the glossy pages and the you know what I think about the Golden Horde books' quality of binding. Despite all of this, I had to get a copy because it's just wonderful. One thing that I was really happy about is the decision that they made for their cover. Look how cool this is. This is the first time that I have seen, there may be others, but I only have 4 of these Golden Horde books so far. This is the first time that I've seen anything other than just Word document looking title on the cover. It feels like they made a decision based on how it would make the book look rather than the information that would be provided to the reader, and that is absolutely welcome, and I think it's beautiful. The original, of course, comes from inside. This faux marbled paper is it's kind of faded and pretty ugly in my opinion, but again, it points to trying to make an effort of presentation. So yeah, hopefully we're going in the right direction here. Then we get to some indication of some useful books that can be. I think these are basically other books in the Golden Horde. Here we are with the Wyvern, which is beautifully explained in the final pages of the present volume. And then the contents. Let me show you the contents, because this is probably the most useful information that I can give you. What do you get in this book that is different from, say, the Clavis or Key to the Magic of Solomon by Joseph Peterson? And, well, there is, in fact, an additional 45% of material here. The calligrapher may be the same. I'm not 100% sure. The decisions made for the creation of this particular manuscript are certainly a lot more colourful, but I'll get to that in a moment. So you can pause on that to see what is in fact contained inside. There are 4 experiments. I'm going to have to check, I'm afraid. I think there are 3 included in Peterson's version. There may be 4. But then we get to all of this material, which and the crystallomancy, which is in fact not available in the other versions. There's a whole section on geomancy as well. I know that Dr. Skinner is a big fan, and for good reason. It's a very, very fascinating topic. And then there is a full commentary by the authors, followed by a transcript of the full text, of course, of the Clavis. Not that you'll need it. I found that reading the text directly was quite easy and quite pleasurable. In fact, it was very clear writing. It's a list of figures. Let me just there we go. You can pause your video if you're interested to get an idea of what you get there. Right. There's a fascinating preface where he, where Dr. Skinner talks about the origins of the book, and then the book itself, or rather the manuscript itself, in facsimile form, page by page. So each page has been bad example actually. Each page has actually been renumbered, so this being page 11 on page 11. Okay, so that's actually very, very useful. Page 23 on page 23, and wherever a page has been skipped by the calligrapher, I don't know if I'll be able to find an example. There we go. Wherever a page has been skipped, then there's just a blank page with the information that no content is missing. So let me close up, for example, on some of the writing here. As you can see, it takes just a tick to adjust, because we're just not used to reading handwriting anymore. However, once you have adjusted, it really doesn't take very long, and it's very, very easy to read. Some of the titles are very beautifully rendered. As you can see, the diagrams themselves are very clear. Here we are. One thing that I found surprising was that it seems that you can see through, well, not. How do I put this to be accurate? You can see the ink that was visible through the original, and it seems to be what is on the opposite page. So it seems like this would have been on this side of the page, and this would have been on this side of the same page. So instead of having this as a single page to be so you can see the front and the back, it's laid out for you like this on a double page spread. And I was a little bit surprised at the beginning, but then I realized that it allowed for this kind of thing, which would normally have been printed on two sides of the same piece of paper. But having skipped the first page, let me show you that the first page is indeed skipped. You see, having skipped the first page, you get to have that, and having these tables, one in front of the other. So yeah, great decision to do that. In fact, let me just focus a little bit on some of the embellishments, some of the I'm afraid I only know the French word for this, enluminure, illumination, of the lettering, and some of the illustration, and in fact, art added to some of the seals and pentacles, talismans. One of the you can get some light on there. A little bit difficult with this glossy paper, which I hate. Absolutely hate this glossy paper. How can I put it? It feels like this is a repository of information rather than an attempt to make a beautiful object. It feels like the creator of the original wanted to make a beautiful object, and it feels like Golden Horde have wanted to make this beautiful object available to the wider public. And I've seen it done so much more beautifully. I feel like this should really have been a Kindle book. Right, I feel like possibly. I mean, I really hope that the leather-bound edition is in fact a beautiful object. I really hope so. Honestly, if you know that it is, please let me know. It'll make me sleep better. And who knows? Maybe when I come round to getting the Ars Notoria. Yes, Ars Notoria. I will get the leather-bound edition if it really is worth it. But if it's basically the same glossy, awful paper, just with a nicer cover, then I don't think I'm going to bother. There we go, just really, really beautiful contents. And then let me skip towards the back, where you have a thorough commentary by Stephen Skinner, and I'm afraid I forget the name of the gentleman who actually discovered this manuscript and worked in tandem with Stephen Skinner. Here we go, Daniel Clark. Daniel Clark, whom I'm sorry, Daniel, I know that you spoke to me earlier on in the comments section of a previous book that I'd reviewed about this book, I believe. So there you see, I did buy it in the end. It certainly seems that indispensable. So the commentary is copious. Again, I'm not a fan of Dr. Skinner's I'm going to say subjectivism, but the fact that he says things, that he writes things as though they are fact, based simply on it's obvious that, or anyone with half a brain will be able to see that. You know, maybe not quite in those words, but it's very much to that effect. Which is fine if you've already got a personal map of what magic may be. But he writes very much as an authority, which he certainly is as close to an authority as the world has. You know, it's just that we don't have direct access to the people who created this stuff, and so anything that anyone says about magic has to be speculation, and he writes as if it was fact, and it annoys me. Nevertheless, because I've already got some personal opinions about that, I can read it as yet another opinion, and in some cases it's absolutely lucid and clear, and sometimes it's very much because he's made a particular decision about what magic is, and his conclusions come from there, which is fine. Again, as long as you know what you're looking at. This was a strange thing to add. I thought as a modern depiction, but it's all useful information, of course. You saw that picture of Oberion earlier on in the video. I'm not going to find it again, I'm afraid, but I paused on it, and you probably recognize it. So this is a typical example of where Dr. Skinner's knowledge really shines. He can make comparisons with other documents that he's handled or seen in the past, and you can see very well that this is a much more skillful representation of the spirit Oberion than the one drawn by the artist or by the calligrapher, most likely. In fact, the drawings of the calligrapher seem a little bit like, I don't know, they seem a little bit childish, but then again, not everyone can be expected to have the highest degree of artistic skill, and it, of course, it does what it's supposed to do, right? This is ultimately information. And the skill displayed in the art is really secondary. Just looking at this guy's face. Can I focus? Can't focus. Okay, never mind. Whatever. Oh, here's Oberion. Yeah, just feels a little bit. Well, it's definitely been taken from the other picture that I showed you earlier on. There we go. Here is the diagram that's shown, or at least similar to the diagram that's shown on the cover of the book. And then there's a full transcript of each page. Yeah, so there's the page, and then there's the contents of the page, all the way through. And a couple of appendices right at the back. So these are the tables that are at the very, very end of the manuscript. This is interesting. This is a table of, because there were several copies made of Ebenezer Sibley's Clavis, and so all of the known copies are represented here in each column with the contents and the page on which those contents begin. So that's useful if you're making comparisons, if you're actually studying. Followed by this fascinating story of Melusine and the Wyvern. Now I've got I'm still waiting for a book of Victorian fairy tales, which contains the story of Melusine, but it's beautifully explained here, as well as the lore that followed, and the people who claim to be descendants of Melusine and Melusine the Wyvern, in fact. So very interesting there, followed by a bibliography and some index. I haven't looked into the usefulness of this index, but it looks a lot more useful than I've seen in the past, which is again a very welcome update, and the authors themselves. So that's it. That's the Clavis, or the Clavis or Key to Unlock the Mysteries of Magic. I hope you liked the video. I will probably do a side-by-side comparison at some point with the Clavis or Key to the Magic of Solomon by Joseph Peterson. so that you can see what you're getting in each. From my point of view, I think both are. One does not replace the other. I think that there is so much in here that is not present in in Joseph Peterson's version, and similarly, there is so much present in Joseph Peterson's version which is not present here. I think that they are both indispensable. I think that the more beautiful object of the two is the Peterson's version. I think that the more complete of the two is probably this one. I think I prefer the commentary in the Peterson's version, but there's so much in here that I had no idea about, and that I'm so grateful to Dr. Skinner and Danielle Clark for bringing to light. I don't think I could be without either of them. I think that I'm actually really quite delighted to have both on my bookshelf. So again, I wish that I could be 100% gushing about every aspect of this, and I knew that I wouldn't be, and I bought it anyway. So that should really give you an idea of how indispensable this Clavis, or Key to Unlock the Mysteries of Magic, is. So thank you very much, Danielle Clark and Dr. Stephen Skinner, for your hard work on this, and yeah, do let me know if it's worth getting one of those leather cover versions. Is the paper different? If it is, that would make a big difference to me. The quality of this glossy paper. If you use, in fact, a different paper stock, then let me know about it. I will actually buy one and review it. So there we go. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.